back with another episode of The Crossover with your hosts, Ravi and Brian. We're, back after a little bit of, it's been a couple crazy days, holidays here for Canada Day and the weekend. So we finally got together here to kind of discuss this on a Sunday evening when we're recording. We're going to talk all free agency for the next few minutes, Ravi. So let's give the folks our thoughts on what we've seen. I think all the big dominoes after yesterday have now fallen into place. So it's kind of better we waited it out. Now we don't have to worry about speculation. We know where LaMarcus Aldridge going, and we might as well start there. LA, not going to LA.
Man, you had to start with that one, man.
I had to do it, man. That's the story.
LA, not going to LA. I mean, you know what? There's been a lot of different things that have came out of that meeting. The initial meeting, initially, there were some reports, with stuff that Kobe said or Kobe didn't say. Then some other secondary reports came out, with Aldridge and his reps not being, overly impressed with the analytics that the Lakers presented them. Apparently a large part of the Lakers presentation, they involved a lot of the guys from like LA Live, AEG, and they were really focusing on the like the branding opportunities of the big market, and a lot of off the court opportunities. But a lot of the presentation and of the meeting didn't really focus on the product that was on the court. So that was another report that came out of those meetings as well. But it's not a good showing at all. Not a good showing at all.
Sorry. My wife's trying to crawl behind here not to see anything.
Another cameo appearance. If you want a podcast where your wife is not all up in the videos.
Just walk across this, be over with it. Oh wow. Okay, where do I begin? I agree with everything you said there. It's very interesting to see how Aldridge's people are very serious about basketball. They could care less about all the fringe benefits that LA might provide. Yeah. I think, we were talking just a few moments ago before we started the podcast that I think what has been made clear in this free agency is that the big market splash that the Knicks and the Lakers thought that would just win over people to just be caught in this gaze. Ooh, the Big Apple. Ooh, La La Land. Those days are dead. You better have yourself a decent team with a good roster, coaching that people can respect, and say, okay, you know what? Analytics, as you said before, have the people. These guys are. One thing I find with the modern day athlete, especially the modern day NBA athlete, these guys are more business savvy than any other set of athletes. I would say right now going around, any sport, they know how to deal with themselves from a business standpoint, on the court as well as off the court. I think they realize now, and I think Mark Cuban made comments about this. They realize now I don't necessarily need to be in LA for me to be a big star.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, I can be in Oklahoma City and be one of the biggest stars in the world.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Right. So to me, LA is going with this old mindset of I'll bring a couple of Hollywood dudes, and hey, look at us. It's dude, your team won 20 games. Why am I worried about you guys? And you have an aging superstar who's unwilling to relent in any fashion. When Kobe's gonna come,
that's the part that's disappointing me the most right now with the Laker management, and they haven't confirmed some of those reports, but
no one's denying them.
What's that?
No one's denying them.
No one's denying them either, exactly. But if they're allowing Kobe Bryant to be in these meetings and he's not, he's giving them this, hard Kobe Bryant sell. I have 5 championships, do it my way. For them to still allow that to go on when they already lost Dwight Howard for nothing. You let Pau Gasol go for nothing. And we see how that's been working out. So.
And this comes back to the point I've always said. I don't want to be bashing on Kobe in this because I think it's more than just Kobe, to be quite honest with you. But I think he's just the icing on the cake of this, of the old school mindset. Hey, look at our superstar. Kobe's a superstar in name at the moment. No doubt he's a household name. Everyone knows it. But his best days are long behind him.
Agreed.
And you're at this is 2004. Really? Come on, man.
Agreed. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine we're actually on Instagram earlier because he posted something with the Lakers. A fellow Laker fan, but I mean, I had to actually get on the other side there for a second. And,
welcome.
You know, I thought you're liking this, aren't you?
I'm not making it easy.
I told him, I was like, hey, right now the Lakers are like that hot girl in high school. And they had every guy chasing them down.
Right.
And now it's 10, 15 years down the road, and they're still trying to get by on that high school swag.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's like, hey, man, like they say, there's a new girl turning 18 every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're still trying to live off this past glory. And
right.
You got to realize, too, these younger players, they weren't around for a lot of the Laker history and all that type of stuff.
Right. So selling that.
Yeah, I mean, that whole Laker lore and, I mean, like, all that, it don't mean nothing to these guys.
Well, to be fair, the Lakers, at least there's a little more recent history. They won in 09 or something like that. So it's
09 and 010. I mean,
it's right. So they could lean to it a little bit, but you can't be going back in this case like Magic and stuff like that. But the Knicks try to work that angle. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Nick Glory, Nick Pride. Like, what the heck is that guy? You you've been lousy for like 20 years. Like, really?
That's exactly
really?
It. That's exactly it.
You're working that on me? Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, you can't try to be living off that old swag from like years ago. You have to adapt. I mean, because these young teams are winning right now.
Right. Exactly. And I think that these guys gotta realize that. And I think that's the reason why everyone talks about free agents going to these big markets. How many free agents gone to Chicago? Pau Gasol last year at the end of his career. No one in their prime's ever gone to Chicago. How many guys in their prime gone to New York? Carmelo asked for a trade to get over there. That's it. LA, I've always said in this case here, fantastic player Kobe Bryant, hey, Hall of Famer, hey, first ballot, the whole thing. But I've always said to you, from day one, folks don't like playing with Kobe. Kobe is difficult to play with, and it takes a certain type of coach to kind of get Kobe at least to a point where he's willing to at least acquiesce a little bit. But but if you look at how they built teams around Kobe, or even when it was Shaq, it was always by trade, because they know in this case here, no free agent was ever coming to play with Kobe. You know, in that fashion, Gasol was a trade, Odin was a trade. You know, the draft pick was coming from Bynum. There's essentially your team. Fill in the blanks. No free agents come to play with Kobe. It's been proven time and time again. You know,
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. So like, like, what does it say about you in this case where free agents are coming to play with Wade? Free agents come to play with LeBron. Ain't no one coming to play with you. You know, so free agents come to play with Duncan. So let's look.
I mean, and see, that's the point I was actually trying to make earlier today with a friend of mine that we were having this conversation. You know, I told him, I was like, can Kobe still be effective? Yeah, he can still be effective in spurts.
Right.
You know, if he chooses to take on that Tim Duncan role.
Right.
But we know he's not going to do that.
Nope.
And I mean, he's not going to do that.
Nope.
And I mean, you have some nice young pieces on the Lakers right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want these guys to grow. You want them to develop. And you know, no big name free agents are going to go there because they know Kobe still in his head. He still thinks it's 03 or 04.
Okay, let's spend enough time spending on these two losers. Let's get to the big winners here. So San Antonio in this case gets LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yes,
I think San Antonio now put themselves in a position where you gotta consider that Golden State's at home kind of, ooh, that's something. It'll be curious to see when the two play each other, see that when they go their small ball lineup, how San Antonio adjusts to that. Because now it means one of those two dudes is going to sit.
That's right.
You know, so I am curious to see how it's going to play out when the first time they play and that lineup comes in the Fort Green playing at the 5. What's going to happen? I am intrigued. Does San Antonio stay big? Does San Antonio decide to take one of the guys at the floor? If they do, who they take off? You know, like, your natural thing would think would be Aldridge would stay on, but Aldridge already said he don't want to play 5 at any cost.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I am fascinated to see that matchup when they play against each other. San Antonio and Golden State definitely look like, you know, the 1-2. They've kind of separated themselves from everybody else. Houston's got to do something in the next few days to kind of beef up their roster a little bit to kind of get back in that mix as far as I'm concerned.
And the only solace I took is the Clippers took a big hit this week.
Wow, did they ever? That's the next phase. Thank you for the segue. So, Big D is back in the game.
To me, that was probably, I think, the most surprising move that I've seen thus far.
Yo.
I was not. I mean, kind of in the back of my head, it's like, okay, maybe maybe he just wants it. He wants a little ego boost. He wants to be courted. He wants other teams.
Yo.
Whoa.
Let me tell you something.
I did see Dallas.
That Chris Paul hate's for real, guy. That Chris Paul hate is for real.
Those rumors were true.
If you're willing to leave arguing with the best point guards of all time, and you're gonna go play with Dallas, who upped and down with Devin Harris and who? We got Barrera, JJ might be coming back. Like, really?
Yeah.
He ain't getting those nice easy dunks coming on that. Let me tell you that much.
No, he's not.
Wow.
I mean, Dirk is literally on his last leg. He has like a kickstand hold him up at this point. You got.
I think they do complement each other very well from a defensive, offensive standpoint. So I do like the fit there. Yeah. I just question, what offensive output, if that's what he's looking for, he's gonna get in Dallas with those point guards. That's what I'm wondering.
Well, funny enough, I saw just before we came on the air right now. So I just saw a report, possible Mavericks-Laker trade for Jeremy Lin going to Dallas. So don't know how that'll pan out.
I tell you right now, boy, he's gonna be. Let me tell you something. He thought he had his work cut out covering up mistakes in L.A. At least he had Chris Paul as a good defender in this case, so that's like blatant and improved. Well, you got Civ out there in Dallas with Dirk, and if Lin comes over, good grief, dude. Oh my gosh, you better hope Parsons' legs are okay to play a full season, because it ain't gonna be pretty. You guys are blowing by dudes left, right, and center. He can sit that bench beside Carlisle with 5 fouls a lot this season. Trust me. Hey, Big D, I just keep it real. I'm a Mavs fan too. I'm just keeping this real.
You got to.
There's some definitely risk going on here. Add Wes Matthews to the mix. That if he can play, I mean, we talked about this. We were BBM each other on Friday. I'm sitting there going like, all the boys were going like, wow, I like Wes Matthews the player when he's healthy. 15 mil a pop. Good grief. My goodness. As I said before, I don't hear nobody tell me they cry sisters of the poor when this deal's up. Because when you're paying a man with one leg and pop his Achilles and paying him $50 million a pop, you got no justification for talking about you're poor. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Well, the other part of that too, I mean, I guess how much of that is them having to pay because of the perception.
No, it's the perception part of it because they were desperate to kind of keep up, right? It's an arms race when it's all said and done. Yeah. My question is, from Dallas' standpoint, is this. Listen, because the knucklehead out there in Sacramento wants to pay everybody about $16, $17 million, don't mean you have to be chasing down the rabbit hole too. Because that's the reason why I was asking you guys what the Raptors' offer was. Because I swore I read somewhere the Raptors' offer was $15 million in total. Right? That's where we were 2 days earlier. $15 million in total. Because I know what the Raptors' cap space are. It's like, they can't be getting $50 million a year. And I don't know how the Raptors are in this case here, being very judicious when it comes to their money. Because that MLSC don't like to give away that money for nothing. So, I saw that to $15 million a year. I was like, that's all because of Sacramento. Sacramento's just like throwing out money. I mean, the players must love Sacramento being in the league. Vivek is their best friend. He's raising the price on everybody. Like, here we go, 15. He was at $16 million. Like, was Sacramento actually giving a $16 million deal?
It was ridiculous. It was up there. It was definitely up there.
And he still passed us out to the 50 from Dallas. Wow. Anyways, so as we go there, some other major free agents.
Well, speaking of Sacramento, you got Rondo going over there.
Rondo is the next piece of the puzzle.
Let me tell you this, boy. If DeMarcus Cousins stays on that team,
dude, they better hire the teams.
I will sign up for League Pass just to have 24-hour coverage of that team.
The team psychiatrist is gonna get a bonus this season dealing with George Karl, Rondo, and Cousins. Good, my goodness. The team psychiatrist pretty much already packed his bags like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal.
You want to talk about a powder keg just waiting to explode?
What's your over-under? I got 1 month in the regular season. They don't get the Christmas.
No, they don't get the Christmas. They don't get the Christmas.
No, Carl was, 6 weeks, coach? He's already traded Cousins.
Season starts October 28th, October 29th. I'm telling you, by November 18th.
Oh my gosh, that's a nightmare. Holy cow! That owner, God bless him, but my goodness, he's just like fancy league. And I remember Bill Simmons saying this, like, hey, he's so right, man. That new ownership virus again. When they first come in, they want to make a big splash. They got the fantasy report card going, and they want to get every name they hear. Doesn't matter if they fit at all. Rondo, hey. It's like, wait, that name. Rudy Gay, hey. It's like they don't care. I'm just sitting there going, wow. Can anyone hit jump shot in that team?
That's a good question.
Because it's going to be like triple team, and then throw the ball out. It's like, you want it? No, you. Rudy Gay's going to be like 6 for 40 guy.
Oh, Rudy, you're wrong, man. Rudy Gay has the green light, boy.
Well, Rondo don't want to shoot it, so who's shooting?
He's salivating on the wings right now.
Who's shooting? They better hope the young boy there has a big breakout season this year, McLemore, because if not, I don't know. Or Stauskas gets on fire. Stauskas! Because if those two don't start shooting from outside.
Yeah, that fire's going to start after a good, 2-3 years?
What? My goodness, man. I love the NBA guy. Never a double the association guy. Give me new plot lines, guy. New plot. It's like the male soap opera guy. The new plot lines are just created. We're doing going Sacramento alone. LA is like, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of it, man. So moving on now, some others. Everyone stay there. Robin Lopez goes out to New York. And I follow. Good defensive. Some nice moves by Phil on the undercover of getting some good defensive, responsible guys that aren't going to embarrass you. I think those are good, solid moves. Being fair to the Knicks, I think they are. I think it helps Carmelo in this case, taking pressure on him, trying to defend the top wingman in this case while I follow there. Robin Lopez covers up any mistakes on the inside. So there's some things they're doing there. You can see what he's trying to do in some respect. But I just don't get, and I've had this discussion with my father for the last couple of weeks, just before the draft to now. It goes back to the draft of drafting Porzingis, and now Porzinga, I guess. I apologize if I messed his name up. If you're drafting him, you're talking about a full rebuild in my mind. Trade Carmelo. You can't be doing it both ways. Partially, I'm trying to win now, but now I'm drafting a kid that only ready for 2-3 years. You're just giving conflicting messages. But I don't want to get too much in New York because I done spend too much time in this podcast talking about them as far as I'm concerned. They don't deserve this much time. Anything else that jumped out? They don't. They really don't. You win 17 games.
A couple Tyson Chandler to Phoenix.
Good point.
Yeah,
and they signed Brandon Knight for $70 million too.
Exactly.
Oh, how can we forget the ATM rolling out in the queue? Oh my goodness. LeBron's like saying, you will sign them. Today I read the article about how he said, pretty much, I'm not re-signing until I see Thompson signed. Essentially. Wow. They
got Thompson, they got Shumpert back.
Is Thompson's deal sealed at this point?
Pardon me?
Is Thompson's deal a done deal? Because
I think it is.
It is? Because I read something up to a couple.
I'm pretty sure I read some reports yesterday, actually.
Okay, so it's done.
So I'm pretty sure that's
so they brought back almost the whole band except for Dellavedova, who's like pocket change, and J.R. Smith, which will be very interesting.
Yes.
The
Smith one surprised me.
He's one in this case here. I don't think LeBron's gonna mind cutting bait on that one. I will be curious to see. But my thing is that you cut him. What are you getting out there for a shooter? That's your thing at this point. Who's left?
Well, there's some talks about a trade for Joe Johnson. Another one that I saw today.
Well, that would
make to Cleveland.
For what?
I don't know. The headline was just Joe Johnson possibly on the move to Cleveland. So
I asked the question for what?
So we'll see what they.
They're not moving Irving for him, obviously. No. At this stage, he's not getting that or Kevin Love. Okay, so who's left? They're going to trade Tristan Thompson, the guy LeBron saying I'm not signing for?
Thompson isn't going anywhere.
Okay.
Thompson is not going anywhere.
Mozgov? Methinks not. They just re-signed Brook Lopez, so I don't think LeBron wants trading Brook. That's his boy. So who's getting moved here? That's my point.
I'll be very interested to see who gets moved.
Right, because
I'm very interested to see who gets moved there. But
unless it's draft picks,
some reliable scoring there.
Draft picks? Does Cleveland have draft picks left? I don't know. I don't know what they have on their rosters worthwhile. It'll have to be draft picks. That's all I see. Yeah. But the Joe Johnson deal would make sense on Cleveland's side. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. last but not least, we got to talk a little bit about the team in this city. So far, the Raptors made a nice little move with DeMar Carroll. I like the move. They actually have a legitimate small forward. The days of Terrence Ross and me pulling out what little hair I got left in this case on Terrence Ross are over. Thank God. Next thing I'd like to see him is being traded on the fastest thing possible out of town. That would be nice because that might still be the case. I think in this case, as we were talking with the guys this afternoon, I know everyone's talking about Lou Williams going to L.A. Cool. I have no problem with that because I think Lou Williams in this case was one of the downfalls of what happened this season. As good as he was, his style of play started permeating the entire offense of one and done ISO ball. So I have a feeling that sometimes it's almost like addition by subtraction. I know in this case, T was asking who's going to replace those points. I think Carroll will get some of that. I think a deal is still going to be made for you got to short the power forward position. Like that's a mandatory thing. That's not done. I've heard Bismack Biyombo for 2 years, $6 million. I've heard Aminu getting discussed. I kind of like the Aminu pickup more so than Biyombo, so we'll see. I think those guys are much more physical at rebounders than Amir was. Hey, Amir, rest, enjoy your time here. You're a good Raptor, but they had to move on in this case here. And I think the Raptors are in a good spot overall. I think they just got to fill up the power forward spot. Maybe get one more wing guy. I mean, you're assuming in this case Terrence Ross will be out coming off the bench, so essentially he should take up some of the Lou Williams slack playing that role. If not, he's getting traded.
Well, you would hope, right?
You'll hope. I still think there's a possibility they may move one of the three of Lowry, DeRozan, or Valanciunas. My thoughts are that it's less likely to be DeRozan, considering he's been in a lot of talks to try to recruit dudes, and he seems to be doing some good closing because he closed on Carroll. And
we drafted a point guard, right? So that could give you some indications of what's to come.
I think more likely is Valanciunas or Lowry that will get moved. I think in a perfect world they want to move Lowry.
Yeah.
Because I think what we saw in the playoffs was just despicable personally. I have a hard time watching that dude next season. I think he quit on the team. I don't care anyone tells it. I'm saying it here. He might want to go hit me up on Twitter. I don't care. I'm saying it right here. He quit. QUIT. Done. Okay. So I'm leaving it at that. I don't even know. I hate to put it on such a sour note, but that's my points here, man. We're running late on time here. Anything else you guys think?
I am good, man. It's been a great season, a great playoff run. Interesting first week of free agency.
Yeah.
First few days of free agency.
One last point before we go. We talk about big markets getting the diss in this case. Last point. Monroe going to Milwaukee. Wow. Yes. How could we forget that? Wow. I just say that.
He turned down more money from big market teams to go to
New York. Just got punked,
and they're putting together a nice little squad there in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think Eve's right now crying in his soup right now when that happened, man. It's like, holy smokes.
Hey, how can we forget D Wade got his check?
All sorts of stuff. 20 mil up front, just Rouse just gave the briefcase. Here you
go, son.
It's a good move on both sides. He gets his money back, which is good.
Exactly.
They get the money out front now that when the big money hits next year and that whole cap goes up and the huge free agents come out like Durant, and they're going to be in play for Durant. Don't be fooled by that. When Miami starts sniffing around, he's like, how Miami get? Believe you me, folks. Don't turn your back on them boys. Don't turn your back on those boys from South Beach. They've done it before. They've done it a couple times. Late in the night, Riley's coming, put the briefcase in the rings. Be wary if you're in Oklahoma City. Don't mind Washington. Don't mind New York. Don't mind.
Like watching Miami, they're like tag teaming with Triple H. He's on your team, but he might hit you with
Miami put the sledgehammer on you, guy. Miami did the quickness guy. So everyone talking Washington, New York, LA. Be mindful, folks, in Oklahoma City. South Beach is lurking. That's all I got to say. And that's not good if you have a free agent in your city. So be lurking. That's all I got to say. Where's the live by guy?
All their advantages.
Yes, La Familia and coming strong, watch out. Anyways, I think that is now officially it.
We think that's it. I mean, I think Dragic resigned with them.
Yeah,
he got his. So.
Yeah, we'll get to break this down. What the season's gonna go. I think we'll just have a little. I think we could probably wrap up next week. We'll have a little summary of what's going on. Any other free agency stuff happens. where we see people sitting there. We might call it we'll call it a season next week, maybe. Because there's not much happening at that point, man. Right now, we got fellas doing pretty much doing and one leagues and stuff at this point. And
see right now the charity games.
Right. The LA games are going on. We don't need to be talking about that. So next week, well, I think I don't know. You tell me. I think we're good, man. I think next week might be our last show.
Yep.
For the season.
We'll wrap it up for the summertime. Be back in October.
Exactly. For real.
September for training camp.
No doubt. Training camp guy. How you mean? Anyways, let's leave it at that. Ravi, man, where can the good folks find you as usual?
At Mr. Ravi _Porvita.
And you can find me at Beyond Locker Room, short for RM. We appreciate the support, guys, and keep watching, keep clicking, keep tweeting us, keep following us. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.